Hello. Happy hump day. It's Wednesday here in New Zealand. And something's been coming up for me, and pain and pleasure is something that I really want to talk about. Now, we could talk about this for days on end, and I do go deeper into it in some of my programs, but I just wanted to touch base with pain and pleasure, with what you guys associate that with. Now, one thing that comes up with my clients is they tend to come to me when their pain is so ridiculously high that they can't handle life anymore, or their relationship, or their job, or whatever else it may be. And isn't it funny, as human beings, we have to get to a point of desperation and immense pain before we change anything? Um, it's just like exactly the same as me not going to the gym for however long, and you wait until you lose all your muscle and then you're going to restart again. So, where have we picked up this point of view that we can't do anything until we're in desperation, instead of actually picking up on the awareness of what we need to do, like take that time out for ourselves while we're okay, or address something like an issue that's in a relationship, or actually start looking for another job and getting another job. And it all comes down to conditioning. It all comes down to, that's the first thing we go to. Mum and dad say stick to your job, so you stick to your job, because we must work hard, we must show consistency, we must succeed or not fail, when it comes down to it. So when we actually look at a situation that we might be in which is painful, you have to ask a question. There's a couple of questions you can ask, and one of them is, what else could this mean? If you're not happy in a relationship, or if it's your job, or if you want to move, or if you're not happy with yourself in general, if it's health-wise, what else can this mean? Or, what else is possible with my relationships, with my career, with my love life, whatever it is. Because if we wait until we're in that desperation of like total and utter exhaustion, it's nearly like it's too late, because we have to go back and rebuild all of those pleasure points again. And it's really interesting, because I went to my osteo the other day, and I went there because I knew that my body was doing some crazy stuff, because I've been like pretty busy, so my body hasn't been able to catch up with it. So I went to my osteo. She clicked my back. She did a few things, and now I can breathe again. I can move my neck where a few days ago I couldn't. And it's not because I wasn't happy, it's because my body wasn't playing ball. So I had the awareness that I required to go to my osteo to get nipped and tucked and tweaked, so then I can get back on my game. And she said to me, when we start talking about pleasure, so I've just been talking about pain, but when we talk about pleasure, we grab that piece of chocolate. We have a piece of chocolate and we go, oh my God, that was so good. And we're satisfied. And then the next time, this has actually been a study as well. You have to have the two pieces of chocolate, and then you're like, oh, that's so good. You have to keep doubling it every single time. And we've all heard about heroin, and how, I've never done heroin, but I've heard that, you're always chasing that first fix. You're always chasing that first feeling. You're always chasing that first kind of buzz that you got, and whatever, like your first holiday, that first buzz, or whatever it may be. So, I think we need to be a little bit more gentle with ourselves. And my question that I would ask to you is, can you afford not to do it? The things that you want to do, whether that is getting help in some shape or form for your body, or doing traveling, or buying a house, or having a good relationship, or going to counseling, or having a life coach and getting some direction. Can you live in this body once here on this earth? Can you afford not to choose you? Can you afford not to fill yourself up before other people? Because when I went to the osteo, people would probably go, oh, you're not that bad. I'm not going to wait until I'm completely broken, my body's broken, before I go and get help from an osteo. or get a massage or go to a naturopath or whatever it may be. It's because we're in the society that you go to the doctors. We go to the doctors when we're sick and they give us a medication. But, having an awareness about, oh, I'm not feeling 100%, I'm a little bit acidy, or I'm feeling a little bit stressed, jumping on it then and going, what is required? So then you don't have to get completely to that pain point. So I hope you're with me still. So pleasure and pain as well, from a completely different stance. How many of you are secretly loving the pain? How many of you fight with your partners or start a fight and you love that pain? Because I know that sounds really, really odd and you're probably like, what is she talking about? But many of us have been taught about drama and we think we hate it, but we secretly love it. How many people sit there and bitch about somebody? Or how many people just like sabotage their bodies and go, I just can't help it, shoving my face full of this for that pleasure. They're trying to get that pleasure, but what it's causing is pain. So the pleasure and pain, it's like the polarity is it's completely different. But ask the question, am I doing this for the pleasure or am I doing this for the pain? So what outcome am I going to have here if I don't address these situations? If I eat this chocolate, what is it going to have an effect on me? It's having a bit more control of our brains. It's like we think we have no control, but we do. And then we try to control everything else, like the people around us or the way we do things, rather than actually going, actually, you know what? I do have control over me and my emotions. Our emotions seem to go wild and we sit in freaking pain and then we make it our personality because we don't deal with it. But everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. So if we can switch it around and go, okay, and pick up things before they happen. And that's what I teach about is awareness. What are you aware of? What energy are you aware of? What is your body aware of? And like I say, it sounds very cryptic and I could talk about it for 10 freaking years. But, something happened to me last night. It was an instant pain feeling. So it doesn't have anything to do with me, but it brought up a lot of emotions and feelings from my past. And I'm like, now I've got a choice to sit in this and wallow in it and feel the pain and make it about me and be dramatic about it because everyone loves the drama. But I sat there and I thought, I'm going to let myself feel it. And I talked to someone very close to me who it will affect. And I said, let's sit in this. And we're like, how do we feel? Okay, cool. And now we can move on. Rather than like letting it sit there and bubble up and brew. So pleasure and pain points are so, so important. What actually gives you pleasure? Pleasure is about being in a state of being okay within yourself. Do you require chocolate or alcohol or wine? Do you require drugs or sleeping pills? Or what is it that you require that you think? Maybe it's like binging Netflix and food. And we think that gives us pleasure, but it's not. It's just masking emotions. So if you can be strong within your emotional sense and you can be happy within you just by being and having that type of emotional mastery, then you won't be experiencing the pain as much because the pleasure of shoving the food in your mouth or binging, whatever it might be, can be completely masking. So I don't say to sit in emotions for too long because it does become your personality, but to sit in them long enough to acknowledge what is this really and, what else could this mean? And then writing it down, writing everything that comes out, which is something else we weren't taught to do. We're not taught to express ourselves. As soon as you're a child and you have a tantrum, you're like, get in trouble. You're in your room. How dare you be such a little psycho? But what if you now, as an adult, could express yourself, your pain points, onto a piece of paper? And what if you could see underneath what it really is that you're feeling, that empty feeling that you may have, or that feeling of needing a coffee I'm all about the coffee, so I'm not perfect. I'm in this with you, having to have that alcohol, having to have that everything perfect as it is, because it's all that control. But what if you had more control of this? What if you could say, I'm okay right now. What am I feeling? And then let yourself feel whatever you're meant to feel. Because at the end of the day, you're just you. And it's only you that knows what pain and pleasure really is for you. So instead of masking it, why don't we feel it? And what is it if you do suffer a lot of pain? You may have a high pain body, but if you do find yourself in a lot of other people's dramas, if you do find yourself with shit always happening to you, what is it that you truly love about the drama? And you can ask that question, what is it that I love about this shitty situation? And just by asking that question, you can have awareness. And what would it take for me to allow more pleasure into my life? Who said that you have to go through pain to get pleasure? And anything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate? Good and bad, wrong and right, online shorts, blind pop, boys and beyonds. Because there's a lot of false things. There's a lot of lies. And you know the truth because it's always within you. So anyway, there's a whole lot of crypticness. Can you please let me know, does this make sense to you? Or do you want to know more about this? Or are you just like, what the F are you talking about? But pleasure and pain, I'm going to go deeper into this at another time because I do have a client coming. But I just really wanted to, touch base with that and get you thinking about what pleasure is and what pain is. What do you love about pleasure and what do you love about pain? And where are you creating your own pain because you're actually hiding, Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.